Right, let's have a chat about the Romans. Romans arrive in Britain nearly 2,000 years ago. As they take over the country, they begin to enforce their laws on a country which had never had a unified system of law enforcement before. Roman society is very hierarchical. It has great disparities of wealth, very rich people, very poor people, and of course at the bottom of the pile it has a slave society as well. This kind of hierarchy is mirrored within the family itself, where the father is in charge of his wife, his children, his slaves. His word is law in effect. The Romans introduced the first set of centralised and common laws across England. So they're providing a stable set of rules that people can follow if they want to avoid punishment. They introduce this notion that's with it in our justice system to the very day, which is the notion or the idea that you are innocent until proven guilty. This is a fundamental keystone of our legal system today. They also introduce 4 rights. Everybody has the right to know what the law is, so not to be in ignorance of what laws they're meant to obey. Everybody has the right to have a fair trial. Everybody has the right to present evidence in that trial, and everybody has the right to know what they are being charged with if they're being accused of committing a crime. So these are the kind of foundation stones of the law we enjoy today, or the law that we welcome and use today. So the Romans have given us an awful lot in terms of the law. In terms of these rights, if you need to know the law, how you're going to find out what the law is, the Romans went to great lengths to erect the 12 tables, and these were written on brass or metal plaques, which were put up in the centre of town in the forum, so that everybody who lived in Roman England would know what the law was and what the punishments were if they transgressed that law, if they broke that law. Later on, the Emperor Justinian, towards the end of the Roman Empire, codified all these different laws into a huge common system, another great achievement for Roman law. So the Romans are interested in law, and they bring about the first kind of legal system within England. Okay, what happens if you break the law, if you transgress their rules? No police force in the Roman period. The government did not see it as their duty or obligation to provide a police force to police Roman society. So they relied on harsh punishments, on deterrence, to try and stop people committing crime. So what are they doing? They are, at the very extreme level, they are crucifying anyone who dares to question the authority and the validity of Roman rule. Crucifixion reserved for slaves. If you steal something, you're expected to repay the cost of the goods that you have stolen. The Romans also went in for, it's pouring down outside, they also went in for mutilations. If you stole something, they could hack your arm off. For nobles, there was, if you committed a very serious offence, if you're a member of the nobility, the really rich families, instead of being executed, they could give you the choice of being exiled, which sounds, a relatively easy punishment, but this would be the end of your time in Rome, or the end of your time in Roman society. So it's still a very, very severe punishment. And for many minor discretions or, crimes that are not considered major, you would be whipped or flogged. And the Romans went in for this scourging, where they would use a whip like a cat of 9 tails. Very painful. Think of the Passion of Christ, etc. So, to recap, have a look at this, see if this makes sense. Romans, hierarchical, patriarchal, first set of centralised laws in our country that everybody should be aware of. They introduced the principle that you are innocent until proven guilty. They introduced the 4 rights: the right to a fair trial, the right to present evidence in court, the right to know the charges that are presented against you, and the right to know the law itself. Again, the 12 tables, something like that. They rely on very harsh punishments. Think of the word cruel, crucifixion, repay money if you steal something. U is for mutilations, E is for exile, and L is for flogging, which was a very widely used punishment in the Roman period.